Hey Jeff, Scott here with a quick video on how to add new stories to the website. We're going to go through two scenarios here. One is just the basic how to add a new story, which is pretty straightforward. So we'll go through that first. And then we'll show you how the stories page is actually configured so you understand why it behaves the way it does. So the first thing we want to do is log in by typing /wp-admin after the web address. That'll bring us to our login screen. If you've learned to type wp-login, that's fine. If you have this bookmarked, that's fine as well. Whatever gets you to the login page. So we'll click login. Noticing the website's very slow. This is Bluehost's responsibility, and it's been pretty consistently slow every time I've tried to work with it. So if you need to change web hosts, let me know. I can help you with that. But you'll probably be okay if you're not making changes very often. Okay, so once we land on the dashboard here, it's worth noting you can edit what you see on this screen. Things like the Elementor overview probably serve no purpose to you, and you may not want to see the nasty details of how many failed logins are happening here. But you can move these things around, drag and drop. Our stories are under posts. So we'll go look at our posts and we'll see that we just have the one story that we've put in the system so far. You can see that it says Ben's testimony, and it's in the category of stories. And we'll talk about categories more later. Okay, so to add a new story, we're just going to go to Posts, Add New. You can click this, Add New. You can click this, Add New. You can go to New Post up here. There's so many ways to get there. So we're going to give this a new story title up here. So whatever the title of the story is, start with that. Then we can add the story here. Feel free to copy and paste if you've written this up somewhere else. But if you copy and paste, you want to come down here and use this paste as text box. When you click on this, it's going to basically strip off all of the rich text tags that come over from Microsoft Word and some other editors when you copy and paste. I will say that if you have the option, it's better to type directly here or type into a Word doc. But if you're going to copy and paste, be sure to use that paste as text button. And remember, you have to click this toggle toolbar to get that second row of buttons there. Once you do that, it will remain exposed on your screen going forward. Okay, so we added our story. If we want to add an image into the body of the text here, we can click the Add Image button. We'll select from what we have available already. And we have size selections here. I'll do a nice thumbnail. I'm just going to align it to the left, not link it to anything. And I can just put that right here if I want to. The main image that we want to use is called the featured image. So that's in the very bottom right here. And this is one of those scenarios where it might make sense to kind of collapse what you see on the screen. So I want to collapse post attributes and tags because we're not using that. You're not really using layout either, and you're not using format. So this way, your screen, as you go into your add new post, you'll just see the categories, which is important. We're going to click stories and categories, and then your featured image. You can also move this featured image up, and it should retain these settings every time you go to add a new post. We're going to click the Set Featured Image button here. And then you can drag and drop an image into this space, or you can select from an existing image. You can also use a manual upload process here, so it opens up the file navigator for you. We're just going to assume that you dragged and dropped it into the space, and then you're left with this. We select the image. You notice we don't have any settings here because when it's a featured image, it's going to manage all the settings for us. So we're just going to say use this as our featured image. This goes with the story. If you want to add a custom excerpt, you're going to do that right here. We're going to collapse the header footer because you don't use that. So if you want a custom excerpt, do this. Otherwise, it's going to do an automatic excerpt for you, and that may or may not be what you want. You managed the excerpt pretty carefully on the first story, so I imagine you'll do the same here. So the excerpt is what shows up on the stories landing page. We'll show you that in just a minute. So excerpt here, and we're going to go ahead and publish this and just see how it looks, and then we'll unpublish it real quick. Okay, so we've published that. We're going to go do like a control click here to open that in a new page, and then we're going to go visit the site to see what everything looks like on the front side. So we're going to click the Stories button. And click over here real quick. This is what our new story looks like. And this is what our Stories page looks like now. As we added a new story, it automatically popped it in here as the first item. And we're going to hide the date and comment tag here so you won't see that. But I need to do that with a little custom code. And when you click on the read more, it takes you to this same post right here. Okay, so that's what it looks like. As I mentioned, wrong place. If you want to see images in the body, you can do that down here, but just keep in mind the featured image is going to pop in at the top. And the only items that will show up on the Stories page are items in the category of stories. So now we're going to take a quick look at how that happens, okay? And we're going to do that after we delete this, since this doesn't need to be live on your website. Finish letting it load, click move to trash. And that's gone. Okay, so I'll refresh our view of this. Okay, so now this page is set up like your other pages, but then right in the middle we're using an Elementor Pro widget. I guess they call them widgets. We're using a feature from the Elementor Pro to automatically display latest posts in a specific category. So you can either go to Edit Page, but then you're going to have to click the Edit with Elementor button there. So I'm just going to click Edit with Elementor. And this is our advanced page editor, which is different than that post interface, which is a default WordPress interface. This just offers us a lot of features in how we create layouts for pages and add additional features. And as we can see, it takes a little bit to load. There we go. So if I click on this element here, it's actually going to give me a bunch of settings related to, this says edit posts. What it's really referring to is the latest posts widget. If we were somewhere else on the page, and we were adding an element here, I go to, oh dear, it's so complicated. Add, yeah, okay. So if we clicked, there we go. So if we clicked in an open space like this, then we'd see all of these different widgets on the left-hand side. And you can see there's just so many available to us now, especially that we have the Pro section. This is the Posts widget. So the goal of the Post widget is to go get the latest posts and display them anywhere you want on your website. So we used this widget. I'm actually going to go delete what I just added there. Click back on this. Not sure how I just did that. There. Luckily, we can go back. Okay. So when I click on this widget, my settings are all right here. So we're using the classic skin. You don't really need to experiment with this much. We have 3 columns, so it's going to go 3 stories across, and then it will start stacking. And we've told it just display the first 6, but if you get to a point where you want 3 rows, you can increase this to 9. We've got the image on top. We're using a medium-sized image. using lots of little things. Oh, look, metadata. You can just take that out. Don't even have to hide a special code now. Okay, and we've got our read more, and under style up here, our read more has settings, and we adjusted the size of that with the typography setting here. And there's just so many settings to this. Luckily, you shouldn't have to adjust them at all. The only thing that you might adjust is increasing this to 9, in which case, actually, I'm just going to increase it to 9 right now. And even once you exceed 9 stories, it's going to automatically add some paging below it so that you can click through to the other posts as well. Be sure to click the green update when you've made changes to a page. And now that it's done updating, you can escape here somehow. I always forget how to get out of here. There it is, exit to dashboard. Or you can view page. So dashboard shows us the normal WordPress interface for editing this page. As I mentioned, you'd have that edit with Elementor button present there. And then I can just go back to pages, see them all listed here. And that's all there is. Let me know if you have additional questions.